Hello and welcome to Agents of Change, the podcast that highlights the individuals driving sustainable change in manufacturing. I'm Gemma, your host, and today I'm sitting down for a conversation with Sarah Beth Aubrey, founder of the Envoy Group and The Wise. The Envoy Group is a global women-owned consultancy with deep roots in agriculture and energy. It focuses on core areas of leadership development, including coaching, curriculum design and training, peer group leadership, and customer engagement strategy. The Envoy Group also facilitates work teams and boards through change. Sarah Beth is a keynote speaker focusing on the areas of sustainability and innovation. In 2023, she founded The Wise, the Women in Sustainability Experience, a new online membership-based program for women leaders at all levels seeking practical training and networking to build their sustainability impact. This episode forms part of the Mansus mini-series with the Sustainable Manufacturing Expo taking place in California in February, where you'll be able to meet Sarah Beth in person. But in this conversation, I wanted to learn more about her work and why she says women are increasingly drawn to sustainability roles. We get into the need for community and how, as humans, we need shared experiences and a forum for dialogue. We learn how The Wise is delivering community for women in sustainability. Without further ado, let's find out from Sarah Beth about her career journey and how she found herself running the Envoy Group and The Wise.
Well, it is a pleasure to be here. And by the way, I love the name of the podcast, Agents of Change. It's very much an honor to be included in a podcast with that name. And it's one of my goals to be able to do that kind of thing. And I guess that's how I ended up running these organizations. So the Envoy Group is the consulting firm that I founded over 20 years ago now. And it's been through various iterations. I've owned various consulting groups within that brand, sold them, started new ones, but really have been at this about 20 years. And what we do is just really quickly is we work on human capital development. So we build grassroots coalitions. We do a lot of professional development and training work. We build curriculums and for clients, we write content for clients. And we also do a lot of things like executive coaching and facilitating boards through change. So it's definitely a group that we have a lot of categories in. I have 8 contractors that work with me that are specialists in one or all of those areas. And we work all over North America and globally as well. So the other thing that we're talking about today, and I'm excited mostly to talk about The Wise, which I know is a very big interest for you because sustainability is one of the aspects of the show. And so we have a group called The Wise, the Women in Sustainability Experience. And that is a program that we run under our Envoy Group. And it's a program for women in sustainability careers, which I know we'll get into a little bit more in our chat today. So I won't talk a lot about it, but at the moment, but just, your last question. I love people's career journeys too. There's always a path. How did we get to where we are today? And it's absolutely never linear. So I have a degree actually in agricultural communications. And then I have a master's degree in strategic communications. And so I thought I was going to go out and be a broadcaster. I thought I would be on TV. Then I decided, nope, I'm going to be a lobbyist. I'm going to get into government affairs. I'm going to go into Washington, D.C. here in the States and lobby and save agriculture through lobbying the government. And both of those were things that I did not do and did not decide I didn't love, but there are aspects of both in my business today. And so I ended up with a big consulting firm, worked with them for several years, and then began working in my own business. And just along the way, opportunities have come up. I've worked with companies both large and small. I actually work a lot within the agriculture sector with farming and energy and renewable energy. And so how I got to this today with sustainability is because our industry, agriculture, that's really my home and my first industry, is definitely a part of the solution for sustainability concerns. And every industry has a role to play. And we're all looking at different sustainability aspects of our business. So as a consultant, you really have to be where your industry is going and you need to be, helping lead that. So that's where in the last 10 years, I've developed more of a specialty in this sector and decided to focus on it a lot more.
the most interesting career journeys are often the ones that have branched out and have got different iterations of the career. And I know one of the things that whenever I'm speaking to younger people, I'm always an advocate for try different things. Don't be afraid to have a varied and colourful career, because I think it makes a richer career journey along the way.
It definitely does. And actually, for our topic today around women and sustainability, I think we'll get into that probably a little bit more around the fact that most women that are past at least early career in this industry didn't start in sustainability. So there's always a new opportunity to seek out a new industry, a new segment, a growth area. You can be growing your career and shifting and making that path, kind of snake along for all of your career and have a lot of success doing that.
So when we think about then sustainability, we hear at the moment a lot of people talking about this sustainability skills gap. As that skills gap grows, can you just shed some light, Sarah Beth, on where women fit into the picture then when it comes to the sustainability skills gap?
There's a lot to be said here. And so, for the purposes of our chat, I just want to make a couple of points because there's a skills gap. But what's fascinating, at the same time, there's a gap in skills. And what does a gap in skills mean? Basically, at least in my definition, and you can add to this if you feel like there's something more different, it basically means there's a problem, there's a job, there's a role, but there's not necessarily preparedness for that role. Maybe there wasn't a training or a degree program or a on-the-job training or a set of standards to educate people to go out and, physically, okay, I know these 6 things, now I'm qualified or certified to do this role. That's really what a skills gap means. So that is definitely the case today. And we find that women and men are both experiencing that because sustainability as a career and as a job function and as an emphasis for the company or trade group they work for is a growing and emerging area. So it's quite natural that a skills gap would exist. And we're hoping to help support filling that for sure. But what's really interesting to me is at the very same time we have a big gap in skills, which we agree on, women are taking the roles. Women are stepping up at a larger rate than men into these roles. So, for example, just a little fact that I have researched here in the last year, the Trellis Group reported that in 2024, that over 62% of global chief sustainability officers are female. Here in the States where I live, that number is around 50%, according to their report. So obviously, while we have a gap in skills, we have a completely new segment of the industry that is emerging and burgeoning very quickly. Women are taking on these spots, and they're taking them on in larger proportions.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts there, Sarah Beth, when it comes to the sort of why are women drawn to these roles then, do you think?
I have a lot of opinions on that, some which I think are just conjecture on my part, but I do think there's some natural facts. So let's take a look at one specific segment of the industry. So if you look at the agronomy side, or if you look at soil health, we're all talking about carbon, right, as a big part of sustainability. Well, a lot of that carbon work comes from my industry, agriculture, and then it moves over into manufacturing, into food, then into distribution. It goes, but the chain starts here. So if you look at that industry as a whole, in that degree segment, whether it's food science, veterinary science, crop science, more women in the States, for example, and globally are graduating with agriculture degrees than men. So isn't that unique?
Wow.
So obviously the jobs that are there, if we have more women graduating in these sectors, they're going to take those jobs. So there's just sort of a natural thing happening. Why else are women filling these roles? I think there's an aspect of women are interested in new challenges. Women are very empathetic and in around topics around sustainability and climate. So there is a level of engagement that they want to make. Sustainability, while it's very tactile job, there's practical applications. There's an element of philosophical need to fulfill a role in this particular segment that I don't see in other parts of anybody's company. So if you are a person who's a believer and cares about something, which often is how women approach their careers, and particularly with satisfaction, they want to approach their career with satisfaction and passion. And a lot of passion is, part of people's choice in this particular career segment. I think that bodes well for women to take on those roles.
So setting aside just women for a moment, then, what are the challenges that people face actually when it comes to working in sustainability?
We all face very similar challenges in this industry. And here's a couple of those. And I bet you can relate with the other folks that you're talking on in this podcast or whatever episode you're doing. But one of the biggest challenges is that they're the first and only in the role. So there is not a blueprint. If you are a new practitioner in the sustainability space, or your company just appointed a sustainability director, or maybe your company doesn't even have a sustainability director, but they've suddenly said, okay, we're going to have a sustainability team. We're going to pull from this group. We're going to pull from this group. We're going to pull from this group. Now you all are the sustainability team, and you're going to help us drive strategy. That is a real challenge. And people are coming at that going, this isn't something I knew. This isn't something that I had that career gap. We have that skills gap. And then there's a really interesting other element is support and buy-in from the rest of the supply chain. Not always there. In fact, I'm not sure of any industry I can say today that has sustainability fully bought in up and down their supply chain. So when you are working in a job with a team that has no background in this or limited background, and then a supply chain that doesn't necessarily buy in, or at least there's critical points that don't. And you've got to really, now suddenly you don't have just a job to do in a practical matter or a tactical manner or a technical manner, whatever area you work in, you have a messaging job to do. And we all have that in common right now, that suddenly messaging your sustainability approach is a challenge that most all practitioners will face.
And it sounds very much like people are working in isolation in a way. Even if they're in a team, a sustainability team, they're almost working in isolation within their organization because there is no blueprint, because of the challenges that you've highlighted. So we both know that implementing any kind of change is a tricky task, and it makes this need for community even more important. So can you just tell us then what you're doing at the Wise to build that community, and also why you think that that is important?
Thank you for asking that. It's exactly that. I recognize that in the last year or so that I also run a group called In Climate, which is a group of advocates about bringing the climate conversation to agriculture, energy, and the food supply chain. And as I was building out that group, we recognized that there was a lot of loneliness in this space. And people are sometimes assigned different opinions when you begin to engage in, say, sustainability. And so that felt very uncomfortable for some. And some people are like, I'd like to be in this industry, but it's really challenging me, or I'm feeling a little left out, or not everyone agrees with me, or people think I've changed and I haven't. I just happen to care about this also. I personally have experienced that. Yeah. So what we did was we decided to really begin to hone in on that. And there's several things. It's that loneliness, that lack of community, but also the skills gap, all three. So what we've decided to do is create this group, as I mentioned at the top of our chat today, called The Wise. And our purpose is extremely simple, but I hope that it's extremely impactful. And that's to bring women practitioners of all career levels together in an opportunity to network. You know, that commiseration is fun and helpful mentally, but also to bring real content. Because like I've already talked, we know we need training, and we know there's somebody who's probably done what we need to do and we could model, but in a new industry, it's not obvious who that person is. You may not have that contact already in your virtual Rolodex like you would in some other segment of your work life. So that's our big goal, is to bring them together so they can exchange knowledge. And then we will also and are bringing content from a training and professional development standpoint. So part of that is virtual. We have a membership group, and that's virtual. And then we also have a couple of live events a year, and more as we continue to grow. So it's a lot of fun to do this. And one other thing I'd add is, we want to bring both free and paid content, because this is something for everyone. If it's right for them to be part of the group and really drill in, and that's great. And if it's just a toe in and they want to take advantage of some free content from time to time, and that's helpful, that's available as well.
And a worthy cause, because I think as humans we need community and we need shared experience, and especially going through something like these new roles in sustainability, now more than ever we need that sense of community. So Sarah Beth, you'll be out in Anaheim in February at the Sustainable Manufacturing Expo. What's your mission at the show?
I'm so excited to be invited to come to this event. Agriculture is my home industry. Energy is my kind of my grown up industry, but all of that relates to manufacturing and distribution, and folds over into that segment. So for me, I'm excited about bringing some of those folks and people that I know, but also to the industries that touch us, that are important to us and are critically part of our role. So I am. I'm just really excited about connecting those dots and those different verticals, and making sure that that if I have a chance to connect people that should meet, and it kind of goes back to the mission. Your question about the mission, I haven't thought about that until you asked it. But what I like about that is, we with the Wise, we want to help people learn from each other so they can take that information and apply it back to their job. And so I think anytime that you connect industries that are a little different, a little divergent, you're sparked creatively. You get a chance to go, oh, I could apply that. Oh, I met her. She and I are now connected. We can take it offline and have our own set of phone calls. So for me, that mission is just connecting different industries to spark creativity and innovation. And then we're also really happy to be able to bring a panel of women. This is a little sneak peek. I hope we can release this, a little sneak peek panel to that event of women in sustainability careers sharing their expertise. And that will be awesome for everybody. It's not just a women in sustainability meeting. It's a chance for anyone who's interested in what things are working to come and listen to some of our leaders.
Sarah Beth, what is the most important change you want your work to impact in the world?
I love that. What is the big change that I want my work to impact in the world? I want people to be better because they took the time for their own professional development. And I want people to be able to grow and succeed and build their career in any direction that they want. And in order to do that, though, you have to have some intention. As we began our chat today, we talked about career paths are never straight. And that's true. But that doesn't mean that you're lackadaisical about it. You have to be intentional about it. You can try new things, as you suggested, and should. You can attempt stuff and fail, and that's okay too. There's a learning and a value there. But really, for me, I know that for you to have a sense of fulfillment and success as a person, no matter who you are, you do have to put some intention behind that. You do have to seek out opportunities.
Absolutely.
You have to seek out the right people. You have to attend events where you can challenge yourself and push yourself outside of whatever it is you currently know, if you're thinking that that's a direction you might want to go. So I hope my work encourages people to do that. And in some of the programs we do, it gives them an avenue to pursue that as well.
Where can people go to find out more about the Envoy Group, the Wise, and the work that you're doing in the world?
We would love for them to visit us. Social is a great place to find us. LinkedIn is where we spend a lot of our time at the Envoy Group. So you can find us there on LinkedIn and on Facebook as well. And then our websites we're just always updating those. And that's where you can learn more or sign up for the newsletter. Our content for the Wise is complimentary. We feature a woman every month that's working sustainability and stories about her. And that's where our events, both free and paid, are listed, and people can register for those. So that is at thewiseexperience.com. Also, if you're a woman in sustainability or you want to champion a woman in sustainability, get to know us there and send us a colleague that you would like to feature as well.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and have this conversation today, Sarah Beth. It's been a pleasure.
The pleasure is mine. It's wonderful to be part of a group called Agents of Change, and just enjoyed talking about women's sustainability's roles today. And thank you so much for the invitation.